恭敬大德身体，
为此法会济一切众生，
请创妙法轮教导我们如何了生从死离苦的速证无生。Will the Sangha with great virtue out of compassion for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to leave suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahari samya sambutoshe.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samyao sambhutose.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. 师父上人，各位师兄，大家阿弥陀佛。Venerable Master, Dharma friends, welcome to our Sutra lecture. Glad you're here with us tonight. Just as I predicted, lots of folks coming in. Empty seat in front, waiting for Suzanne, or someone else. Right down here, empty seat in front. Or Lynn, come down right there, waiting for you with your name on it. Who would have thought your seat had your name on it? There it is. And on this side, we got a couple spare spots. Good, all right. Well done for the Dharma request. Well done for what is going to be a tour de force of videography. I think we got a Sutra lecture as never before with 5 cameras. And have you got one facing the audience? That should be a trip. Today, something special is happening because in the center of our Buddha hall, there are tables loaded with toilet paper rolls, 小米, 好大包, millet, let's see here, stuff from Costco, things that monks use a lot in bulk. And by this time next year, all that will be consumed. Those are all consumables that monks need. So this is Ulambana. We talked about it last week. We sang about it last week. We let's see, what would be the word? We campaigned for a revival of the holiday, saving it from corruption as ghost month, ghost week, ghost day, and putting it back into the heartwarming, universally appealing story of Madhyayana saving his mother. So these, in the sutra we hear about the Ulambana basins, they say, Ulampan. Here we've got the Ulambana boxes from Costco, kind of the same difference. So let's proceed with our invocation. We're auditioning a brand new monk, a microphone here. Let's see how it sounds with a little closer there. Is that good? Is it nice? I could actually take off the wind baffle. There's no wind in the room. Oh, there we go. Turn that down, and turn. There we go. Let's see how this works. Better. What we're doing is we're invoking spiritual presence. It's in Chinese, but you can follow it with the romanization. What we're saying is down below. We're inviting the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the Flower Garland Assembly, along with the gods and the dragons and the Eightfold Pantheon of spiritual Dharma protectors, to come and pay attention to what we're doing tonight, and in the process, blessing all of us with the light that they bring. So here we go. Not bad for a 100-year-old musical instrument. This is a vintage banjo. Righty. To continue, the Pomo people are for lectures that originate in Ukiah. The Ohlone people, the Kombumerri people, are for lectures that originate in the Gold Coast of Queensland, where I will be next week. And the Ohlone people are for lectures that originate right here in the Bay Area. So we say the Chochechno Ohlone people practice spiritual connections to the earth and all creation here on their ancestral land for tens of thousands of years, and today we acknowledge them as traditional custodians and original storytellers of these lands. We offer our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. Let's make that peoples. There we go. Furthermore, Chochechno Ohlone人在他们祖先的土地上修炼着他们和土地和万物的精神联系已有数万年，好久啊！今天我们承认他们是这些土地的传统监护人和原始讲故事的人，并且向他们过去、现在和新兴的长老们表示敬意，以及主权从未被割让的所有第一民族人民们表示敬意。Let's hold on for just a second here. Here we go. Back to the Kumbumeri people. Australia is currently in a very healthy but precarious, uncertain, that is to say, situation regarding, this happened last week too, there we go, regarding a ethnic trauma, a national trauma. The Aboriginal and, as they say, Torres Strait Islanders people have never had their own political representation. And governments have inched towards acknowledging them politically and then backed away at the last minute. Our current Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, is determined. He is a compassionate man. He's determined to bring it to a vote. So this October, every Australian is required by law to go cast a vote on what is called a referendum, because they want to change their constitution to allow political representation on their own for the Indigenous and Torres Strait Islanders, Aboriginal and Torres people. And you would think, because this acknowledgement of country has become standard, so standard that every high school, before they begin a public event, they acknowledge country. Every council, political council, before they have their council meeting, every sports event. If you go to the Australian Museum website, before you can get into the website, they have an acknowledgement of country. It's been a very pervasive acknowledgement that the white people came and basically committed genocide, wiped out the oldest living human civilization on the planet. No argument, they are. They've been around longer than any other human, and they're essentially devastated. So this acknowledgement of country. Now there's this thing called, you're going to be hearing about it in the next couple months because Australia is in absolute uproar. The old line, heavy-duty racists don't want it. So it's really, at the core, ugly how it's breaking down. But it is controversial to the max. Yes or no? The interesting thing about that, there's lots of other issues to observe as we watch how this shakes down, because America has our equivalent, no doubt, which is, in Australia, if you are a citizen, you must vote in every election, or it's a misdemeanor. You are penalized for not voting. So imagine participatory democracy in the US. Imagine if everybody had to vote and leaders were elected popularly instead of by this interim thing called the Electoral College, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, interesting point. All right, that has nothing to do with our lecture tonight, but it's a fascinating reality that is happening at this moment. So I think for us to say, we, sitting here in the flatlands of Berkeley, are just the next group to come live here. Before any of our ancestors came, and if I looked around the room, we could probably have 9 different nations here or more. The folks who lived here first, the Chochenyo Ohlone people, had a nice place to live. If you go to Emeryville, if you go to buy a phone at the Apple store, you get it from Shell Mound Road. You know why it's Shell Mound Road? Because of all the seafood that the people just pulled. When the tide went out in the bay, here's dinner. You just pick your shell food. And they dropped the shells and made mounds. There were huge mounds. If you dig down in the ground in Emeryville, very close to the top, you find shells, so shellfish. This was pretty close to heaven for the folks who were not necessarily warlike either. Why? Plenty of food. No struggle to eat, to survive. Nice weather. The occasional grizzly bear came down. Part of UC Berkeley history is that on Strawberry Creek, there were grizzly bears 200 years ago. And then they got wiped out. We later comers with our weapons, we pretty much destroy everything we see. So anyway, so this acknowledgement of country, I think, is a very wholesome awareness that we're the next group. Will there be another one after us? There's some doubt. So we'll see. The bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000界内，佛法让万亿国中，共训起法界和平，利益报他我厚德。Here we go. How do you like my desktop? I'm proud of this one. As much as monks are allowed to have pride. This is Dragonflower Temple, Wenhua Si in Shanghai. It's 1990. We're transmitting precepts. It's ordaining 600 monks and nuns. Master Mingyang, here in this incredible robe. How do you like Mingyang Fasher's robe? That's called a 100-patch robe. He has asked me to stand in and be the jiemo, the confessor monk, for the appropriate right confessor monk, who was 89 and had asthma and couldn't read more than a couple lines without. So Mingyang Fasher says, "Come on, you can do it." You know, yeah. You speak Chinese? Toledo, Ohio. You know, baseball player. No. You do it. You speak for him. You know. So I got to be the jiemo, the confessor monk, for 600 Chinese new monks and nuns who are now the abbots of monasteries all over China, because that generation. So here I am shaking in my arhat shoes, not shaking in my boots. We don't wear boots. We wear arhat shoes. Shaking in my arhat shoes, but a moment to remember. My goodness. Every now and then we run across a monk in China who goes, "Oh, I need to bow to you. You're my confessor." Oh, okay. What we are doing is hearing about bodhisattvas. We're hearing about what bodhisattvas really are like. And there's a pattern in this, and you can see it's yi, shama, 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 verb, with shama, 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 verb. You can see, here it is, E. It's a list. What's happening in this part of the text, we're preparing to hear the Buddha explain the Avatamsaka Sutra's final chapter. He's got a big audience. The audience is waiting. They've been there listening to praises go by, watching people make offerings, other bodhisattvas. They're watching their numbers swell and swell and swell and swell as the word goes out that the Buddha is ready to explain the pilgrimage of Sudana, the great pilgrim. And the ones who couldn't hear a thing have left, or they're just sitting there kind of in samadhi and they can't figure out what's the big deal. But the ones who can see are just watching this dazzling, inconceivable, fantastic, marvelous display of the Buddha's lights and transformations, and it's quite a show. Now the Buddha has begun to speak, and he's talking about the virtues of those who are here. His description of what bodhisattvas do, how they function, how they teach, is inspiring. So what we'll do, I've been enjoying a lot. I get to sit here and listen to all of you recite together. People who are listening on YouTube, but people who are listening later on Zoom, also get to hear all of you reciting. And we have, in the last 3 or 4 weeks, we've gotten really good at 异口同音, reciting in unison, different mouths with a single unified sound. So let's keep it up. We observe the punctuation. There's a period, full stop, right there. There's a pause, there's a breath. We go for the next line, period. This is pretty easy because you see how regular the verses are. When we get to the English, it's the same deal. The comma, period, space, like that. The nice thing about what we're doing, there are many nice things about it, but one of those nice things is people haven't done this in English before. Unless you got Thomas Cleary's Sutra and kind of got a lot of copies. But we may be the very first assembly that has ever recited the Avatamsaka Sutra together in English. Ever. Right? So this is a historical thing that we're doing. And I find that hearing it from your voices coming towards me as I sit here on the platform, on the stage here, is comprehension happens at a level that's not entirely conscious. We're hearing it deeply, I think. At least I am, speaking for myself. I'm hearing it deeply as never before. And I'm not exactly sure what parts of consciousness are absorbing this Dharma, but I suspect it's way deep and it's nourishing for wisdom and the best parts of us, the best parts of being human, are kind of dancing for hearing this Dharma. Not that Chinese doesn't do that. Chinese indeed does, but not all of us are able to absorb the grammatical, the grammar and the syntax, much less the meaning of the sutra in Chinese, but I don't mean to diminish that. If you can, better even. You're better off, as they say. So let's try it. Ready? Here we go. We'll just do this first paragraph and then do the English after. All right, here we go. 以大愿力，说法无尽，以无所谓，大狮子吼，常要观察，无一处法，以净法眼，普观一切，以净智悦，照世成坏，以智慧光，照真实地，福德智慧，如金刚山，一切譬喻，所不能及。Okay, hold it there. down to there. Ready? Here we go. With power, my mistake, one more time. With great power of vows, they speak of the Dharma without cease. With the fearless, great lion's roar, they constantly delight in contemplating dharmas that rely nowhere. With the pure eye of Dharma, they contemplate all things. With the moon of pure wisdom, they illumine the formation and destruction of worlds. With the light of wisdom, they illuminate the reality principle. Their blessings, virtue, and wisdom are like a Vajra mountain that no analogies can describe. Hold it there. Okay. Bodhisattvas. What do bodhisattvas do? That. With the power of vows, they speak of the Dharma without cease. That's interesting. I don't know the subtlety, if people understand what's happening there. How much to digress here. I think it's important. And as people of our gathering here, there's a handful of us who meet every week since 2014 to retranslate the Avatamsaka Sutra. We've been doing it steadily every single week. Our Avatamsaka translation team is pretty tireless, and this is one of the benefits of the retranslation. So, because of that weekly, without fail, unless it's like COVID, or even through COVID, we did it because we met online. But if it's like fire and everybody evacuates, we don't do it. Or if it's like, Earth Store Bodhisattva week and everybody's in the Buddha Hall, we don't do it. But otherwise, we've been meeting since 2014. To do what? To decode the Dharma. That's our new battle cry. Decode the Dharma. That is to say, a lot of the Dharma comes to us crystallized into these 4 character phrases that pass through centuries, pass through dynasties, pass through generations. And in this case, jump the ocean to arrive on our shore in code. So, one of them is 讲经说法, 4 character phrase, 讲经说法, lecture sutras and speak Dharma. And inside of BTTS we go, Dharma Master Heng sure lectures sutras all the time. Now, in ordinary English, that would mean I have a sutra on the table and I'm scolding him, lecturing the sutra. Why did you do that? Why did you sit on that table for so long? You got cobwebs, you have dust, nobody's touched you, what's wrong? Shame on you, you haven't opened yourself to be read. You haven't shouted lecturing a sutra, right? 讲经, literal Chinese, lecture sutra. That's how we translated it. And every time I read it, it was like, give the sutra a break. Why are you giving it such a hard time? It's innocent. So it's because why? To lecture as a verb in English can mean to scold. If we added a preposition to lecture on sutras, or to explain sutras, 讲 can also mean to explain, suddenly it's like, okay. So to explain a sutra. But we early on, Matthew's Chinese-English Dictionary, 讲 was to lecture. And Shifu would say, sutra lecture sutra, so we picked it up. And it became a BTTS-ism. It became one of our code words. Oh, okay, you ready for another one? 说法. 讲经说法. What is 说法? Translate it. Speak Dharma. Okay, he's speaking Dharma. Okay, he's speaking French. He's speaking Russian. He's speaking Dharma. I'm now speaking Dharma. Suffering, accumulating, cessation, and the way, right? That's Dharma. No, it's like speaking about Dharma. Notice, speak of the Dharma. That's an improvement. Why? Speak Dharma is pure Chinese syntax. 讲经说法. Lecture, sutras speak the Dharma. That's halfway translated. It's not at home in English yet. And as a result, people go, oh, the Buddha? Well, the Buddha, he doesn't really speak English, but we understand him because we know the code. Most other people go, oh, yeah, the Buddha, he's foreign. He's Asian maybe, or who knows where he's from. In other words, the job of the translator was not done yet. So why? Takes time. Takes a long time to really make it our own, to make it ours, to make it fully at home inside of English convention and syntax. Now, if you're a Chinese speaker, you go, we'll be patient while these Americans work it out. Meanwhile, Chinese is fine. 讲经说法很好. 有什么不好呢? When you get it into English, we have to really not be satisfied with a meta language. Chinglish. It's been in Chinglish for a long time. English words, but Chinese syntax. 讲经说法. Lecture, sutras speak the Dharma. Code. We are decoding the Dharma, and the reason why I'm riffing on this is, just add that of, and we got it. Speak of the Dharma, speak about the Dharma, explain the Dharma, teach the Dharma, all good. Just not speak Dharma, like we speak French, right? Does that make sense? The Chinese speakers are going, if you say so. What's the difference? English is the difference. So we want to really make it English. So that's what we've been doing, and that's why I'm super sensitized to it. Anybody else would run right by that and say, don't worry about that. That's a small point. It's not a small point. The Buddha speaks English, and we shouldn't be satisfied until he does. All right, enough. Stop me before I preach again. They speak of the Dharma without cease. Thank you, translators. With the fearless great lion's roar, they constantly delight in contemplating, dharmas that rely nowhere. Like, ooh. What would a dharma that relies nowhere be? Well, our famous story of the sixth patriarch. The sixth patriarch was a woodcutter walking wood on his back, probably delivering it to the back door of a house that had a cultivator, that had a Buddhist practitioner in it, and the Buddhist practitioner was probably going, 应无所住而生其心是为诸法. Right? And he heard 应无所住而生其心 and went, that's it, and woke up. Was enlightened by hearing these words from some random person who launched the career of the sixth patriarch. Dharmas that rely nowhere. How does it go? This is a good example. This is a hard one to translate. Should not stop anywhere and give birth to thoughts. 应无所住而生其心. Stop nowhere and think. Not quite. We say, our Chinglish was, produce the thoughts that dwell nowhere. That's Chinglish. You should dwell nowhere and think. Not quite. So what does it mean? It means in the same way that our eye organ goes out and surveys what's in front of us, we see it and the job is done. We don't see it and then doubt it and then have to see it again unless you're blinking or something. Ordinarily, you're seeing it, that's fine. You don't have to doubt the seeing, comment on the seeing, correct the seeing. We don't do it with our ears either. When we hear a sound with our ears, that's good enough. I heard it. Listening to music, da, 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 da. That's just right. Namo Guan Shi Yin Pu Sa. Just right. We don't have to go, Namo, how was that again? I didn't hear it quite, we don't do that unless we have hard of hearing. Why, when we think a thought, do we go, I wonder if they really meant that? Is that, she looked at me that without the corner of her eye, I feel so bad about that. How could they say that to me? Shame, I'm going to get it back. We do that with our thoughts. We think it, then we evaluate the thought, then we react to the thought, and we rethink, and we mess with our minds, which is what, from the Buddhist point of view, just another organ. 应无所住, don't stop. The first thought is good enough. That's what it means. Shifu would always say, just your first thought is the true one. Shifu, what's a false thought? 什么叫妄想? He would say, the first thought is the true one. All the other reactions and questions and analyses and emotional reactions and, misinformation, disinformation, messing with your mind because we do it. That the January 6th insurrection didn't really happen. It was just a party. No, I saw it in front. No, you didn't see it right. It was actually, we spin it, right? Because we do that in our minds. We're trained it out. Or advertising says, you need this to be happy. Here's the new one. You're not happy. I'm not happy? Oh, I guess I need that, right? Because we do it. So the sixth patriarch says, 应无所住, 无所住, stop nowhere with your thinking. The first thought is the true one. Trust it. Move on. Don't chew on it. When it gets really bad, what do? We have a defense lawyer inside that rationalizes wrong behavior. We're in there, it doesn't really matter. I could do this. That's 所住. That's stopping with our thinking. So it's funny that we are such head-heavy people. We are, I know, I am, and yet does it make us happier to do that? We do it. Whoa. So, thoughts that rely nowhere. You could also say thoughts that stop nowhere. Fearless great lions roar. They constantly delight in contemplating the mind as it thinks perfectly the first time, just the way the eye sees, just the way the ear hears. No need to doubt it. Move on. We burn so many calories between our ears. Smoke comes out as we think it and rethink it and think it and rethink it. Calculating, regretting, looking forward to, and I wish I hadn't, Forward, backwards, never in the moment. Right? That's what the great Vipassana, the catchphrase of mindfulness? Present mind. There it is, present mind. The first one is good enough. Okay, they contemplate all things, the pure eye of Dharma, the pure moon of pure wisdom. They illuminate what? Formation and destruction of worlds. Oh, big. With the moon of pure wisdom, they see how everything comes and goes. Impermanence. With the light of wisdom, they illuminate the reality principle. Ooh. 以智慧光照真实地. Reality principle for true and real truth, true and real principle. That's a interesting translation because why? It's a hard concept. What would the reality principle be? Essentially, we don't see it because until we're Buddhas, we're stuck in duality. We're stuck in language, which is limited. We're stuck in concepts, which are limited. So, with the light of wisdom, bodhisattvas can get to that the sixth step. There's this magic thing in the bodhisattva path that we kind of just run right by a lot because it's not our experience, but here it is. If you if we want to get a clue to what the bodhisattva's reality is, and that's what the Avatamsaka is all about, look at the paramitas. The paramitas are these, they're kind of like tools that they are not kind of like, they are tools that bodhisattvas use. Begin with, they go nicely in pairs, so the first 6. So generosity and goodness, generosity and virtue are what open up our hearts to the world around us and to living beings. The next pair are patience and strength. So patience and vigor, we say. So the idea is, once we have the experience of the joy of giving to others, and we encounter the simplicity of virtue, and how when we stick in present mind, that first thought, life goes so well. We don't lie, we don't have to cover lies. Then we think, that was really something. I felt better after that retreat than I have in years. Why don't I always have that sense of fullness in myself that I felt after that retreat? We pick a Dharma method. Buddhist code, Dharma door. We pick a Dharma door. There's one of our BTTS isms, a faman. We pick a practice. What would it be? Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's giving. We become karma yogis. We like to serve. Whatever it might be, we practice it patiently and we do it with strength. That's the second pair. What happens after we build on generosity, goodness, patient practice, and strength? 2 things happen. One is samadhi. That's the dhyana paramita, number 5. But it's that 6th one. That's the power, which is what? After samadhi, what happens in samadhi? Samadhi is while we're sitting, let's say it's sitting that you've chosen, could also be bowing, could also be generosity, whatever it is. There is a time in your sitting when body and mind integrate in a whole new way. There is often an experience of the physical body transforming in powerful ways. Maybe heat, maybe cold, maybe expansion, maybe you vanish. People describe all these different experiences as what? The earth, air, fire, and water of our physical bodies undergo the transformation of the elements of the body, Jing, Qi, and Shen, the 3 internal treasures, that change, and we integrate in a way we'd never done before. Shifu would describe it. He said, if you take all of the pleasures of being alive in a human body, what are the most pleasant, wonderful experiences you can have? Multiply it by a couple 100,000, can't match dhyana. The experience of dhyana is more pleasurable. It's a wonderful experience. Body and mind integrate. You lose your boundaries, the sense of me separate from all of you. Things happen. Heart stops. Lungs stop, but start in a whole new way. Reintegrated, reoriented. It's hard to describe because it's like science doesn't talk about that. Which physiology textbook describes that? So it's quite a marvelous experience. And there are 4 stages of the dhyanas. That's step number 5. When we get to step number 6, we get to what is called, remember the reality limit? There we go. They illuminate the reality principle. That's step 6. And they often describe it as the end of duality. At this point, the Buddha's constant vision of seeing the unity of things is yours. You don't lose the ability to tell duality, to use language, to use thought skillfully. Instead, you're able to do both. They talk about it as 虚谛 and 真谛. The provisional truth, which is where we live, yeah, I kind of get that, and ultimate truth, which is where you can see how all things come together and come apart. My hands went different. Come together and come apart. There we go. All things end, all things arise. 成住坏空, come into being, abide, decay, go void, and then return. You can see those things. You see them. You understand what exists beyond language and thought. And it's not that nothing doesn't exist beyond language and thought. The Dharma realm, principle, exists beyond language and thought. So you can see those things with your new wisdom eyes. That's why the sixth step is called prajna paramita. This is prajna paramita. And you can see with both, you see past the veil of duality. You understand how cause and effect creates everything. Everything is made of conditions. When the conditions change, it's over. And you're okay with that. It's not a reason to freak out, which apparently, as the sutras describe it, is one option. A lot of people see that and go, I need something more secure, thank you. And you stop in samadhi. You don't go beyond to prajna. So the reality principle is that. It's the sixth step. Prajna wisdom is right there. And it's tricky because it's a lot to take in. There's no primer. There's no YouTube video that explains it. There's no, website that gives you the experience. You have to do it yourself. But because you've been through steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, based on that samadhi, if you're courageous and key, compassionate, if you understand that every wise sage, male, female, ancient, modern, who has made a vow to save living beings, to help others where we really need it most, has walked this path. And if you can get past that duality where the self is gone, now you reach what's called tong ti da bei, same body, you are one with all living beings. You see the sameness, and you are able to help at that point. So, big deal here, the reality principle. And it's waiting for generosity, virtue, patience, strength, samadhi, stillness, and then wisdom opens. That's not the end. That's the first, they say, the first step into the Dharma realm. And after that, you have vows, you have strength, you have expedient means, and you have knowledge. 4 more paramitas to master. And at that point, you're close to Buddhahood. So, alrighty, their blessings, their virtue, their wisdom, like a Vajra mountain that no analogies can describe. How beautiful. Skillfully contemplate the dharmas. The roots of their wisdom increase and grow. These are still bodhisattvas. They're not Buddhas yet. They still have more to grow. Courageous, vigorous, vanquishing demonic hordes. Because the demons are still based in, I want that. I hate that. I love that. And as long as we're bounced around by love and hate, the demons can get a hook. With measureless wisdom, their awesome light blazes. Let's see, we haven't read it. We're not there yet. Slow down, dude. All right. We'll go down to, let's do 2 more paragraphs here. Okay, we ready? Here we go. 善观诸法，慧根增长，勇猛精进，摧伏众魔，无量智慧，微光炽盛，其身超出一切世间，得一切法无碍智慧，善能悟解，尽无尽极，住于普济，入真实际， 无相观智常现在前. Continue, here we go. Let's scroll up here. Okay, ready? 善巧成就诸菩萨行，于无二智，知住境界，普见一切世间诸趣，遍往一切诸佛国度，智灯圆满，于一切法无诸暗障。I'm sorry, let's see here. 放净法光，照十方界. Alrighty. There we go. Back up to increase. Let's see here. No, Alice, here we go. Right there. Are we ready? As they skillfully contemplate all dharmas, the roots of their wisdom increase and grow. They are courageous and vigorous, vanquishing the demonic hordes. With measureless wisdom, their awesome light blazes. Their bodies transcend all worlds, and they obtain the unobstructed wisdom of all dharmas. They are good at understanding ultimate and non-ultimate states. They can stop in an ultimate state and also move on to ultimate reality. The contemplative wisdom, which is free of characteristics, ever appears before them. With skillful, clever means, they complete bodhisattva's practices. They recognize all states of being with their non-dual wisdom. They see all the places of rebirth in every world. They travel to all Buddha lands. The light of their wisdom lamp is perfect, and nothing dims or obstructs their understanding of dharmas. They emit the pure light of Dharma, which illuminates the realms of the 10 directions. All right, this goes on, page after page of virtues of the bodhisattvas. And the Buddha is just painting a picture of the very human experience of expanding the mind in the Mahayana tradition. These are humans who put these Dharma cookie cutters, templates, on top of their very human protoplasm and baked it in with the fire of samadhi, and out came these qualities, these abilities. Amazing, amazing. And yet nobody knows. Nobody who reads the introduction to chapter 39. We all skip ahead to Sudana's pilgrimage. We don't care about the preamble, but look at this rhapsodic praise of the bodhisattvas. Their roots of their wisdom increase and grow, courageous and vigorous, vanquishing demon hordes, measureless wisdom, awesome blazing light. How about having a body that transcends all worlds? They obtain the unobstructed wisdom of all dharmas. They're good at understanding ultimate and non-ultimate states. That wouldn't stop me. That's good. So an ultimate state would be the Sharangama Samadhi, which, how do you describe it? What would a non-ultimate state be? A birthday party. Happy birthday to you. You're a Virgo, me too. I'm not. I'm a Scorpio. But a non-ultimate state. Why? 12 months later, you're back. It's another birthday. How was this year? Many happy returns. And it's wonderful. Birthday parties are super. They're great, wonderful experiences. But it's a non-ultimate state, and the bodhisattva is right there at the birthday party, having the best time, eating the birthday cake. Hope it's a vegan birthday cake, never mind. And yet, at the same time, they understand that living beings are a conditioned dharma. That young man, young woman going through the birthday, they weren't here 100 years ago. They won't be here again in 100 years. They'll be back in another form. So it's like this ability to hold all of those ultimate things in their minds without getting confused or discouraged. At the same time, we're talking about the good side, Bodhisattvas see all the ugly. They see all the darkness at the same time. And they don't quit. They see all the greed, anger, and delusion right there. Just like what? Just like looking at a empty lot. Empty lot. It's couldn't sell because it's too close to the freeway, and maybe the owner had it lost in escrow or something, or for some reason it's just there. And over the years, it's been accumulating broken boards, broken glass, broken tires. Everything is broken, and everything is broken in this. And you just look at it, dusty weeds, and the dogs go in there, and dead rats, and yuck. It's just a abandoned, vacant lot. Bodhisattva looks at it and goes, rototiller, wet it down, loosen up that soil, clear out the boards, clear out the glass, clear out the needles, and let's water it, get the rototiller, and that's the first big chunks. And then you get in there with a hoe and you chop up the big chunks. Then you get in there with the potassium and the calcium, and you water it nicely, and you repair the fence, and you plant some seeds. And you come back and you go, that's just weeds, but bless you, weeds. We're going to turn you into compost, give you new life. Make some compost, and then put the compost out, and then you say, we'll put some, what do we want? We'll put some marigolds here to keep the bugs away, and then we'll put some, what grows here native? We'll put some drought-resistant plants, and over here we'll put a little waterway with a little pump, solar operated, and pretty soon people look over the fence and go, what are you growing? Oh, we got like zucchini. Here, you want 50 pounds? Give them the 50 pounds of zucchini. And they go, no, it's too much. Well, you can give it away. Too much zucchini, always too much zucchini. And tomatoes, and then beans, and then corn, and then you have enough to share with the neighborhood. And you remember that was a dirty, vacant lot. No life. And yet the very, very, very same dirt grows magnificent garden with color, and here come the bees, and here come the birds, and here come the critters. And everybody flourishes when you can see the potential of the human mind for wisdom and compassion. And it's the very same frightened, anxious, angry, nasty person who has the potential for Buddhahood in the same mind. Bodhisattva can see it and doesn't quit, doesn't stop, doesn't get discouraged. When you look at yourself in the mirror and think, I'm going to forget that one as soon as I can. That was forgettable, And you go, retrograde Mercury. It'll be different later. So, let's go and pick it up. If it doesn't, Bodhisattva's famous war cry, if I can't save him, who will? If I don't save him, who will? Where does it begin? So there's a wonderful phrase in the Bodhi Resolve essay by Master Xing An, who was at the end of the Ming and the beginning of the Qing. And he said, it's basically an exhortation. He says, who would know, who knew, he said, that when we meet each other in the Pure Land, it was a direct result of a vow that we made here together today. So let's make that vow together. Be reborn in the Pure Land. What are you waiting for? That's how he writes. It's really nice. So the contemplative wisdom that's free from characteristics is always there in front of them. With clever, skillful means, they complete their bodhisattva practices. Okay, this is a big one Because a lot of folks say to me, Dharma Master, I've been meditating for years now. When am I done? Can I move on? And I go, well, tell me a little bit about your practice. Well, I've been sitting, I've been reciting the Buddha's name. When do I graduate? And we're looking for what? Something to measure our progress. Absolutely right on. How do we do it? It's tricky because why? We cultivate by subtraction. We make progress by getting rid of the coverings. So it's really tricky to track. And that's an insight that I think is very helpful for people who are cultivating the way. The world tells us we know where we are because we get stuff. We measure ourselves through accomplishment. Oh, you graduated high school. Terrific. Oh, you passed your qualifying exam. Terrific. Oh, you got promoted. Really good. Ah, you got a commendation letter. You got a watch after 50 years of service. That's all good. That's how we do it. You got a diploma on the wall. You won the game. You won the conference. Terrific. That's great. Cultivation doesn't work that way. What does it say in the Vajra Sutra, in the Heart Sutra? In wuso de, I wuso de gu, bodhisattva, I boro bolo mido gu, de anadolo. There is nothing to attain. Because of nothing to attain, bodhisattva realizes prajnaparamita. It's what we get rid of that we use. It's by getting rid of stuff, we measure our progress. Which is what? What do we get rid of? So much emotion. We get rid of attachment. We get rid of biases, prejudices, chengjian they're called, views that you accomplish. We just let them go and say, no, I really don't know. I don't know for sure, the way I used to be so sure that those people were bad. I used to know that they didn't look like me and they were our enemy. Because why? Well, I was told that. We had to be carefully taught to hate, they say. So you get rid of that. You realize, no, it's all language and thought. Some of it we bring with us from the past. A lot of it we learn from our environment. Is it nature? Is it nurture? Do we bring those views with us, or are we taught them? The answer is yes, both. So my beloved cousin, who I first lived with when I got to California in 1970, sweet, kind-hearted, Pisces, had a big, big heart, just room for everybody, married a man who brought with him lots of hate. I didn't know about it until later. He'd now passed away. But I went to talk to her, and she told me how she hated these political figures. They were bad, they were evil. Black people. I thought, you never thought that way. Oh, your husband. She followed her husband's view and got biased and prejudiced and racially just, her views shrunk. The influence of a bad advisor. Wowee. We are taught those things. It's not natural to say, these people are wholesome, but inside my own species, those people are not. Right? DNA research tells us that we are, in terms of our genetic makeup, we're what, 97% the same as earthworms? The difference is in that last little bit, where the Y's combine or don't combine. So, yeah, we make progress in our cultivation by subtraction. We get rid of that stuff. And what happens is our mind expands, and our wisdom expands, and our compassion expands. And we see, yeah, we really are the same. To the point where, take a look, they contemplate all dharmas skillfully, and they realize what? They're the same. Dharmas are not different. That is to say, the components of reality are the same. It's only in our knowledge and our views, our zhi and our jian, that we make distinctions. So if we can let them go, we can see both ultimate and non-ultimate states. So with clever, skillful means, they complete bodhisattva's practices. When am I done, Fa Shi? Not yet. Jia yo, jia yo, jia yo. I tell myself, jia yo, jia yo. They recognize all states of being with non-dual wisdom. They see all places of rebirth in every world. Why? Their tian yen, their celestial vision is open. They travel to all Buddha lands to learn from the Buddhas how to teach living beings. The light of their wisdom lamp is perfect. Nothing dims or obstructs their understanding of dharmas. If that were you, would you ever not know how to solve an argument between your folks? Your parents are fighting. If you have the light of a wisdom lamp in your mind, you know what to say to get them to make up, finally. Takes a while, but being a good son and daughter is a big step forward. If you have troubles and afflictions, of course, that just adds fuel to their arguments. They use you to make points. If you're fine and they know you're not afflicted and upset, you're patient, you're kind, they have to look at themselves. They emit the pure light of Dharma, which illuminates the realms of all directions. Whoa. What would that be like? You have a job tonight, which is to tell me which you prefer. We're going to, it's Earth Store session is coming up, but we're back in Guanyin. Last week, I had the opportunity, last Friday and Saturday, to record over at Pandora. And one of the songs that we recorded was a reworking of Jesus on the Main Line, which is an African hymn. Here, let's do it the other one first. I want you to tell me which setting you prefer. You're going to have to sing it, and we will know if you don't. Kidding about that. We won't know, but you'll know. It's always a good idea to recite Guanyin's name. Prefer the banjo or the slide guitar? Here we go. Guanyin Bodhisattva, call her name out loud. Guanyin Bodhisattva, call her name out loud. Guanyin Bodhisattva, call her name out loud. When you need her, call her name out loud. She'll give you a hand. Guanyin Bodhisattva, she'll give you a hand. Guanyin Bodhisattva, she'll give you a hand. Call her name and she'll give you a hand. We gotta do a little computer break here. Guanyin Bodhisattva, she will hear your voice. And she will hear your voice. Believe it. Guanyin Bodhisattva, rescue God bows to rescue living beings. When your soul is weary, call on Guan Shi Yin. When your soul is weary, call on Guan Shi Yin. When your soul is weary, call on Guan Shi Yin. Raise your voice and call on Guan Shi Yin. Last one, here we go, ready? Your heart is lonely, Namo Guan Shi Yin. Your mind is troubled, Namo Guan Shi Yin. Sounds good. Your soul is weary, Namo Guan Shi Yin. Call her name now, Namo Guan Shi Yin. Okay, that's one. That's one version. And that's kind of fun. The banjo sounds very young. It's got a good rhythm with that drone string, and something about it just sounds happy. It's really good to tap your foot to the banjo. But we got another version of it, which I want to see whether you think it's... This is the one we did. It's a little higher in pitch. We did this one last Sunday night. Let's see, I'll move it. There we go. Call her name out loud. In bodhisattva, call her name out loud. One bodhisattva, call her name out loud. When you need her, call her name out loud. One bodhisattva, she'll give you a hand. One bodhisattva, she'll give you a hand. One bodhisattva, she'll give you a hand. Call her name and she'll give you a hand. She will hear your voice. One bodhisattva, she will hear your voice. One bodhisattva, she will hear your voice. Call her name and she will hear your voice. This is nice, you just keep the heart beating. Here we go. We need that on the banjo. Oops. Bodhisattva rescues living beings. One bodhisattva rescues living beings. One bodhisattva rescues living beings. She's got vows to rescue living beings. When your soul is weary, call on Guan Shi Yin. When your soul is weary, call on Guan Shi Yin. When your soul is weary, call on Guan Shi Yin. Raise your voice and call on Guan Shi Yin. Oh, I need 2 fingers. There we go. Last chance, here we go. When your heart is lonely, Namo Guan Shi Yin. If your mind is Namo Guan Shu Yin. Call the name now, Namo Guan Shu Yin. Last line again. Call the name now, Namo Guan Shu Yin. So, banjo or slide guitar? The banjo-tar, right? So, banjo. Oh, all in the back, everybody like the banjo. Slide guitar. Oh, okay. Slide guitar wins, all right. People go, even the musicians go, a 12-string resonator? What in the world? This is a combination organic and machine. The machine part is a aluminum cone that when you make the string vibrate, it's just like the speaker in your hi-fi cabinet. It's vibrating there. Otherwise, it's all plywood, right? So it has that quality of, when you add the slide, it's really got it. You can, so great fun. All right, I think there's still room for the banjo in there somewhere, but we'll work on it. Bringing Guanyin Bodhisattva to the West is going to take a lot of expedient skills on our part. Okay, now this is my last lecture in person for a while. You'll see me on the screen on Saturday nights. It's Sunday afternoon in Australia. I'm traveling back to keep my promise to staff the monastery in Australia, where there are very, very, very few Chinese Mahayana monks. Those who speak English are even fewer. You might say none. So there's definitely, Australia is a very big, wonderful continent. And by the way, have you all seen the wonderful Qantas song, I Still Call Australia Home? Anybody seen that? I'll just recommend, I don't want to play the whole thing because it's going to it's so moving. People spontaneously cry who are, Scottish and Lithuanian, and they are not Australian by any measure, but they hear this song and they cry. It is so moving. I'll give you just a little bit of it so we can, here we go. Qantas took this up as their official song. That's Uluru, the red heart of Australia. There's Auntie Jenny, I think her name is. There's some neighbors. Hugh Jackman. Oh, it's so touching. seeing her grandson for the first time.
I miss you. Can't wait to see you.
Ash Barty, the tennis player. Ooh. All right, that's a very effective video for the airlines. Now, do I still call Australia home? Not yet, not yet. We'll see whether I get the opportunity. But I think the answer is to bring all of us to Australia. Because anybody sobbing or weeping, the comments are full of people saying, you know, my home is actually Sierra Leone, but I love that. So, yeah. So I'll be there for a while, and we're going to invite folks to come to the monastery to see each other again every week and watch the video. Whether or not you do that, we'd love to have you come. I'll be also online for the Sunday night lecture at CTDB. And I will also, let's see, I'm getting ahead of myself because Jinwei Shi, I hope, or Jinchuan Shi are going to tell us about what's happening at the Berkeley Monastery. And two of those announcements have to do with my lectures. Ulambana ceremony tomorrow. Let's see, hold on. This is the one I wanted to show you. Friday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., I'm explaining the picture biography of Master Xu Yun, our grand teacher. And it's great fun because one of the main reasons is, take a look here, DRBA Chinese. We have online the picture biography of Master Empty Cloud already beautifully laid out. There it is, with the picture and the translation. So this is Master Empty Cloud's biography, commissioned by Master Shenhua, our teacher, Shifu, 200 illustrations, picking 200 events out of the 120-year-long lifespan of Master Empty Cloud, and telling the story of his life with the illustration. So every Friday at 1 o'clock, I read the Chinese, read the English, talk about what's going on. And Shifu added a 4-line verse to every story. So he not only retold the story, he embellished it, he added it by adding a 4-line verse. So we have these wonderful, charming illustrations and a good translation. So we do 2 of these every week, and stories and songs. So that's Mondays. And then Sunday night I do the CTTB Sunday Avatamsaka Sutra lecture, which is now the 6th transference of the 10 transferences of the Avatamsaka. So you get to hear me 3 times a week online, Zoom or YouTube, and anybody who wants to join our Avatamsaka translation group that is running long, you're welcome. More on that. So, okay, that's the news. I will be sending back regularly images of my neighbors, my friends with feathers and fur and scales and 8 legs and 4 legs and 2 legs and no legs. All of the neighbors, pictures that I take on YouTube and on I'm on Twitter and Insta and also in Facebook, so you can find me there. Jinchuan Jinwei, are you hiding behind the Ulaanbaatar offerings there? Not hiding. You're proudly sitting. I just can't see you.
Yeah, we're over here.
There, that hand. Okay, have you got an announcement for us?
I think the main one is the Ulaanbaatar ceremony.
Right there.
Tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. So if people would like to come and join us, you can come right where you're sitting right now, and we'll have bowing cushions there, and you can recite the Ulaanbaatar Sutra and chant the repaying parents' kindness mantra, right?
Jinchuan, your voice is a little quiet. Can you
Turn
a
up
little
the
louder?
mic on this. I have it right next to my. Can you turn it up on the microphone?
Yeah.
there?
Can
Gary?
you? Is it my ears or is
No,
that
it's
pretty quiet?
It's the red one. If you look at the soundboard. So we'll be doing the Ulaanbaatar ceremony. You can see the recitation for the sutra text is there in PDF. And I think we will try to post the newer translation ASAP. We have both a link for Zoom and also YouTube.
So people online who are far afield but want to join Berkeley Monastery's Ulaanbaatar ceremony, Zoom or Dharma Roam Live, YouTube. Take your pick. Hayona.
That's mainly it. The Tuesday, actually, this upcoming Tuesday, Abhay Giri is coming. I think Ajahn Karunadano and Ajahn Pasno and Ajahn Karunadano are coming for the tea time, and then a Dharma talk. So that'll be this Tuesday, starting around 5 o'clock and finishing around 9:30, 9:40. And we also have Thursdays with James Baraz's group. They're in person again, so you can come and join that. Talks about meditation.
Is that linked here anywhere? I don't recall seeing that. Thursday
It
night.
might not be on the
Not
page. It's
on.
on the upper right corner.
Yeah,
If you look at the upper right corner on Thursdays.
Thursdays.
Insight meditation.
Right
community.
there. There it is.
Yeah. Oh, we should
Oh,
change
wow,
this
we really have to update that, don't we?
in person.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we need to work on that one. Okay, by golly. That's it, pretty much. Glad to see all of you. See you all again soon. What do they say? How can we miss you if you won't go away? Right? So, yeah, I'll be back before you know I was gone. Meanwhile, dedication of merit right here. Yeah, pictures? Where are they?
So if you want to mention Brian Conroy's book, Dharma Master.
Oh, correct. I don't have I do too, I do. Yes, member of our community, Brian Conroy, the storytelling teacher, among other things, old friend, disciple of Master Hsuan, has authored a book called Bright Moon, and Brian Conroy, I think there's a bunch of Brian Conroys who are all authors. They're Bright Moon right there. And Katrina Milner, another member of the community, has illustrated it. It's just beautiful. It's right here. Brian Conroy and Katrina Milner. It's a story of a young girl and her grandmother. Here is Bright Moon. Here she is. Oops. There she is. Her grandmother teaches her about the moon. Every year during the Mid-Autumn Festival, which is coming up, Ming, the girl, listens eagerly as grandmother tells fanciful tales of the moon. When Ming grows to be a young woman, grandmother tells her the moon parable, a tale originally told by the Buddha. For the rest of her life, the story's wisdom serves as a guiding light for Ming illuminating her path like a bright moon. Beautiful illustrations. So there it is. Brian has done it again with another beautiful book. Brian has 3 or 4 books on YouTube, on Amazon, available. Stories, Buddha stories, all kinds of wonderful, let's see here. Stepping Stones, Buddhist Parables. There's another one right there. Available on Kindle as well. I have it on my Kindle. Highly recommended. And Lotus Petals, Buddhist Wisdom Tales. There's another one. Do you all know that? These are Brian's books on Amazon. You can get them on your Kindle. They're reasonably priced. So, wonderful Buddhist Wisdom Tales. So, that's out there. What else did you have, Jin Chuan? Let's see, photos. Which photos? Say again? Okay. I have to stop sharing? Okay. I can provide background music. Oh, there we go. Whoa, look, Eve Decker. The first one was Alan Senaki. There's Eve. James Barris, ooh, handsome guy. There's that old guitar that inspired me to start making music again. Oh, man. Uh-oh, mischief. Lao Heshang. Thank you for those. Those are lovely. If we could get a link to those, I'd love to take them, share them with the friends for sure. Okay, we're not quite done. We get to bow. Right from where you're sitting, wherever that might be around the world, bow to our teacher. Bow to the Buddhas first. Here we go.
Yeah, dedication of merit.
Dedication. We haven't done it?
Yeah,
oh, I thought
yeah.
we did. Okay, you're right. We had it up and then we got distracted. There it is. So make a wish. May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity. May their minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May a boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. Okay, now we can bow to our teacher. Bow to the Buddhist first. There we go. Let me get the bell. First bow. Second bow. And third bow. Bow in respect to, one more moment, here we go. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Good night, everybody. Amitofo. See you soon.